Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for what is going to be nothing short of another jam-packed daily cryptocurrency market update with yours truly, All In Crypto. I'm wishing you all a smashing Saturday, and as always, we have a hell of a lot to get into. And if you are new to this channel and finding yourself on my videos for the first time today, don't forget to check out that subscribe button, because I drop an update just like this one around 1 p.m. UK time every single day to help you guys stay up to date with the latest and greatest things happening within the crypto space, but also the broader markets, and that's exactly what we're going to be doing in this video. If you haven't already seen yesterday's daily market update, do go and take the time to watch it, because the theme of that update was getting out of the fiat systems and the kind of mass proliferation of them that we are about to witness, that is going to see assets do very well, inflate essentially against the fiat systems. And of course, Bitcoin crypto is the fastest horse in that race. It's the furthest ahead out of the burning building, if you will. But that was all covered in yesterday's video. We have a lot to cover in this one. And we're going to be starting the video off with a little bit of bad news. I'm sorry, guys. We see the Biden administration actually veto a very positive bill that was essentially set to pass, or did pass, the House in the United States. It's not great news. We did think that the Biden administration was perhaps warming up to the crypto space, certainly looking to perhaps appease it. Seems like they've done a bit of a 180 on that and actually vetoed this bill, which is a little bit shocking, certainly to myself. So we will be starting the video off there. We have a hell of a lot to get into after that. We're going to be talking about a variety of things, like the fact that in the hearing that's coming up on the 4th of this month, and we looked at that 2 days ago, the hearing that Patrick McHenry put forward or proposed, we actually see a representative of BlackRock representing the cryptocurrency space. Now, largely people have missed and not picked up on this is actually going to be happening, but we'll show you the details in this one. Then we're going to be looking at, obviously, the inflationary data that took place yesterday, inflation more broadly, the cryptocurrency market, other markets, and kind of rounding things off and really sort of putting forward our bullish bias, trying to enforce it on everybody towards the end of the video. So a lot to get into. Let's kick things off with the bad news. Let's get it out of the way. I've always liked to have my bad news first. You know, whenever I've got vegetables on my plate, I always eat them first before I get to the good stuff. And this is from Brad Garlinghouse. Now, he says, if the Biden administration is actually serious about a shift and finally waking up to the crypto electorate, the single most important thing they can do is demand the resignation of Gary Gensler. Leave Gary alone. No, I'm joking. Don't leave Gary alone. He has been a tyrant when it comes to this industry. And the strange thing is, for somebody who literally taught at the most prestigious technical university in the world a course on blockchain, I don't know why, you know, or I do know why. I have my own suspicions. You know, I think he's ultimately serving special interests and essentially enabling the same people that control the traditional financial sector to carve up a large slice of the financial sector and the new kind of digital world that we're moving towards. And of course, he tweeted this on the back end of a Block article that we covered 2 days ago. And the Block article was titled, Biden Campaign Ramps Up Crypto Industry Outreach in Surprising Tone Shift. And then you can see poor Brad, well-timed as always. This is always the way in the cryptocurrency space, isn't it? Well, after only a few hours, this post didn't age well. To say that this is incredibly disappointing from this White House at an incredibly pivotal time is an understatement. And of course, the news is Biden vetoes bill overturning SAB 121, says standards necessary for crypto income. And you can see this is James Seyfarth, somebody that's great to follow, by the way, if you want to keep up to date with the ETFs and sort of what's happening there, along with, of course, Eric Balanchunas. Shout out each and every time, you know, somebody that I've really been paying a lot of attention to in regards to what's been taking place. And it's only going to become, these two individuals, by the way, are only going to become more valuable in terms of following when we start to see more altcoin ETFs enter the race. Obviously, we know what's happening with Ethereum. I think most people have now filed their S1As, I think it is, which is great news. You know, we're definitely progressing towards that. And remember, that was all technically signaled. So this veto, I guess the 180-degree turn in Dem circles was more like a 90-degree turn. And you can see this is from Bitcoin Magazine. Breaking, President Biden vetoes a bill that would allow highly regulated financial institutional firms to custody Bitcoin and crypto. Now, why would they do that? Again, it's all about special interest. So for somebody like me that owns Coinbase stock and has been buying it since it was $30, $40, and remember, we still think it's going to 400 plus. We've done a lot of technical work on that. this isn't such bad news, because ultimately they're going to have to go to somebody like Coinbase to custody it, and they're going to, do well as a business as a result of that. But what are they trying to do here? They're trying to stop a mass migration of companies from holding cash on their balance sheet to Bitcoin. Again, the video that we did yesterday in regards to get out, it was get out the fiat systems. We need fiat. I'm under no illusion that you can't buy a loaf of bread right now with Bitcoin unless you're in El Salvador. And even then, I'm not sure, how worth it that is. And I don't think Bitcoin really is a practical currency at all. I really don't. And I don't think it would work as a currency. So I'm under no illusion that Bitcoin, or trying to portray that Bitcoin is a currency that is right now replacing the dollar. The illusion that I am under is that Bitcoin is a better store of value than the dollar. And assets are a better store of value than a dollar. Remember, the Nikkei, the Japanese Nikkei is a short yen trade. The S&P is a short dollar trade. There's so much alpha in that saying because it perfectly sums up the great game that has been played on all of us in regards to the fiat systems. So this is bad news. It's not great news. It kind of flies in the face of what we covered a couple of days ago. And you'd think that Biden wouldn't be pulling such a stunt. I don't think he's pulling any stunts, by the way. Certainly no backflips or anything of the sort. You wouldn't think he'd be doing this at a time when the election is coming up. You see most candidates actually looking to appease the crypto voters. This kind of flies and spits in the face of that and doesn't make too much sense to me, certainly if Bitcoin is a regulated instrument. Or maybe it makes perfect sense in regards to what I just mentioned about a flight to what Larry Fink said is quality. A kind of flight to safety, if you will. So this isn't great. Obviously, vetoed by Joseph R. Biden Jr. Not particularly brilliant news. Some good news in regards to regulations and the fight that we are in as an industry this is from Eleanor Terrett. She said, the House Financial Services Digital Asset Subcommittee will discuss tokenizing real-world assets in a hearing next Wednesday. So this was put together by Patrick McHenry. Go on, Patrick McHenry, somebody we're a big fan of. This is going to be interesting. And he says, wonder if Carlos Domingo, no idea if I'm saying that right, or anyone from BlackRock will be asked to testify. And lo and behold, Carlos Domingo, who is the founder and CEO of Securitize, which is now owned or part owned by BlackRock, is indeed testifying. So a representative of a BlackRock agent or business is testifying in front of Congress in favor for the cryptocurrency space. We've come a long way already. Yes, there's a little bit of bad news out there in regards to the veto, but generally this industry is moving in the right direction. This movement cannot be stopped. It can only be stalled, and that's what they're doing. So Eleanor, as usual, was right. I am one of the expert witnesses for this hearing, and I am proud to represent this industry in this important meeting. So we might even live stream the hearing, perhaps here on the channel. If any of you would like that, do let me know in the comment section, and certainly we'll be covering some of the key talking points that were raised. Some other bad news, not to depress it. Saturday, come on, we should be a little bit more cheery. But some other bad news, certainly for somebody like myself that actually really liked CZ and thought he did a good job and really admired his story. Binance's ex-CEO begins prison sentence in California. Shame, really. I wish him all the best on this journey, and I'm sure he's going to come out the other side of it even stronger. Binance Coin seems to, there's a whole video we could do on Binance Coin and what the future may hold for that, because it's very interesting and doesn't seem to be sort of doing too badly off of all that's sort of happened. It seems to be in quite a strong and primal position still. Let's move on to a little bit of macro data. So we know that recently the markets have been pulling back generally. We've got a number of markets that we'll look at with you guys today. Obviously Bitcoin, we've got the Total 2, we've got the Dow Jones Industrial Average, we've got the FTSE 100, we've got things like Amazon, all very much painting the same picture, and that is that further continuation is on the horizon. Again, bullish environment generally. Most assets are going to do well. We looked at fundamentally why that was yesterday. We also looked at the kind of green light that Stan Druckenmiller gave the markets when he moved from a Mag 7 down to a Russell 2000. But we know that markets generally, and you can see this pullback period, Bitcoin, Total 2, even the Dow, really just a sideways period. By the way, the Dow perfectly made our lower down head and shoulders target that we had for it. You can see even the FTSE, Amazon, they've all been going sideways and sort of struggling on the back end of uncertainty around interest rates based on fears of inflation. And the Fed's preferred inflationary metrics, which is core PCE, actually came in yesterday. And it came in the same as it was last month. So this is not showing what many have been prophesizing on Twitter and other such platforms in regards to the second 1970s-esque style inflation. If you can't see the difference, I'm afraid, between 2024 or the 2020s and 1970, I don't know what to tell you, you know? It's kind of stupid, if you ask me. That's my own personal take. Maybe I'm stupid. Maybe many of you think that, although I'm sure you don't. But if you look at inflation generally through this sort of metric, you can see really you've just sort of bumped into a sideways period of inflation. And that is it. Okay, if you look at CPIs, it's been going on really since June sort of last year, and that's when the dollar sort of found at a bottom, or at least support, and has been going sideways. I do think you're going to see inflation continue to come down. I do think they're going to be bringing rates down. I do think all that's signalled in regards to, Druckenmiller moving from a Mag 7 down to a smaller cap, which of course is interest rate sensitive. Also, bonds are interest rate sensitive. Housing is interest rate sensitive. I think they're going to actually do very well. And it's all because we're in this proliferation and mass proliferation environment. Remember, $9.3 trillion worth of debt is up for refinancing in the next 12 months. Pretty insane if you ask me. Dive into Bitcoin. Just stick to the plan. Okay, this has all been laid out previously. We're very much following it. When we stop following it, or we see a reason to panic, is when we do exactly that. Bitcoin, really just setting up in a kind of bull flag-esque pattern, kind of setting up for further continuation. I want to fly past Ethereum very quickly because this was a really, really great bull flag, very similar to, or different, I should say, to Bitcoin, but very kind of textbook. Ultimately, we've seen big rallies. We're still seeing that rest. You're going to see that's something that tips markets over and into that broader continuation. Going back to Total 2, which is my favorite chart, we're just waiting for this right shoulder to form, and then we're on that journey to $3.9 trillion, which is huge. Also, we looked at yesterday a number of top 10 crypto index funds that are offered by the same people offering Bitcoin spot ETFs. They all look spectacular, ladies and gentlemen. When something walks, talks, and quacks like a duck, it is a duck. Also, the traditional markets look brilliant. If we look at something like the Dow Jones Industrial Average, this has actually made our target. Remember, Bitcoin crypto is a way higher beta risk asset play. Risk generally is going to do well. We're seeing that represented in gold. We've covered this across the board. Dow Jones looks great, just having a period of rest. Ultimately made our target, finding support for that 30-weekly moving average, likely to see broader continuation. The FTSE 100, very similar story. This has basically been a sideways chart for a hell of a long time, broken out into new all-time highs, coming back, sort of resting, looking for broader continuation. And remember, we still have that higher technical target for Amazon that we were calling pre-right shoulder formation and break. We were looking at that as a possibility. It's now on that journey to $263. There's loads of stocks out there that look absolutely spectacular. Even if we look at the German stock index, the DAX looks brilliant. S&P looks fantastic. And of course, crypto is going to do the best. If you divide Bitcoin by the SPY, we've got broader continuation patterns, further upside. We've done a lot of work on gold. Obviously, we brought up Peter Brand and his, I think, kind of nonsensical comment of Bitcoin needs to wait until it takes new all-time highs against gold to be in a bull market. Well, it's been going up since January 2023. So nearly 2 years now. Anyway, I digress. That is it from me. Not great news in regards to the veto. I thought we were making headway with the Biden administration, but apparently not. Also, we see another presidential candidate now be found guilty of, I think, 34 cases of I'm not sure what. It's political sort of insight and overspill into the cryptocurrency market is worth watching. Not great news, but ultimately we'll see what comes out of the hearing. There's been a lot of pressure actually put on. The fact that the bill passed in the first place, I think, is the silver lining and the golden goose here, because it shows a clear support for this industry in Congress. There's only so many bills they can veto. There's only so much the walls that are trying to keep this industry out can take before we break through and take the castle. Ladies and gentlemen, that is it from me. I hope you've enjoyed this video as much as I've enjoyed filming it. On that note, I am going to love and leave you. Thanks a lot for watching. See you in the next one.